Fats are also essential to your diet and to your body's function. Okay, so far we've talked about protein, carbs, and fats. Proteins are essential, fats are essential, carbohydrates are not essential. Okay, they're essential to the body because they're a great fuel source as a one piece, but they also, like proteins, pretty much help every enzymatic process within the body. So once again, if you're not eating enough fats, your body will slow down its function. They're pretty much like a transportation or a messenger tool. So if you can imagine it, eating fats is like eating little cars to go into your bloodstream and move everything around your body the way that it needs to be transferred. The thing is, there's such thing as good and bad fats. So when it comes to fats, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail in a sec. So brain food, they're a great brain food, but they can also start chemical reactions and help to control growth in general. They're really good for immune function. So you'll find that if people are immunosuppressed or they're just low, like if, for instance, someone is copying a cold all the time, it's a fair chance that they're not eating enough nutrients, but also not getting enough fats in their diet. They're really good for reproduction and other aspects of your basic metabolism. So we didn't touch on this, but we're going to go back to it really quickly. What are our carbohydrate foods? Just type in the text box, guys. Sweet potato, rice, grains. So people typically go to things like breads and pastas for carbohydrates. Quinoa, yes. Rice, potatoes, some veggies. So actually all vegetables are going to be a carbohydrate. Even things like avocado that are dense in fat and mainly fats, they still have carbohydrates in them. So your fruits and your vegetables both fall into the carbohydrate realm. And so a lot of people think that you can just eat vegetables and they're kind of a nothing, which they are to some extent, but they still have carbohydrates to them. So understanding that means that we don't necessarily always have to be sitting down to a big bowl of rice or a big plate of bread, because you're getting enough carbohydrates potentially from just the vegetables that you're eating at times. Awesome. So while we're on the topic, what are fats? Anyone got any idea of fats? I just let out one before. I said it's mainly fat, but it also has some carbohydrates in it. Avo. Yeah, spot on. Anything else that we know of that has fats in it? So not talking about meat fats here. Butter. Yep. Nuts, seeds. Good. So a lot of our coconut products as well, oils, dairy, some dairy will definitely have fats in it, oils, nuts, butters. Yeah. So pretty much nuts, seeds, oils are a good place to go. Coconut, things like mayonnaise and stuff like that, like some of your toppings are going to be fat, but using things like oils. So in regards to oils, we typically stick to coconut or olive oils as your best sources. I mean, things like a macadamia oil or an avocado oil are good for a dressing, but outside of that, we want to really keep away from any vegetable oils that we can. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. So when you're cooking with canola oil is actually ideally a big no-no. So moving away from that side of things where possible. When it comes to eating fats with your foods, having like an extra like a side of avocado or adding in some mayonnaise or drizzling some oil over the top are really good ways just to kind of increase your fats. And it is important to do that at most of your meals and snacks. Now, outside of that, you could also have just, for instance, some nuts. A lot of people choose to have nuts just kind of on the go. And that, once again, is another great source of fat.